So now we're going to take a look at the exclusive Homestead reveal that PC Gamer has gone through and shown. It does look very, very spicy.
And this is an exclusive look at Homestead, the new player housing feature arriving in Guild Wars 2's next expansion, Janthir Wilds. ArenaNet calls Homestead the most...
The very first thing I noticed as soon as I watched this is it gave immediate Skyrim vibes. Jess and I had fun years ago going through, playing in Skyrim, messing with the housing in there, so seeing those vibes come back we are very happy with.
Player-friendly housing system in MMOs. Your home will exist as its own instance rather than being one of a limited number.
It's great that it's its own instance.
So unlike a game like Final Fantasy XIV, you won't get the same neighborhood feel, but the benefits should be pretty obvious. You don't have to enter a lottery to claim your land, and there's no chance of getting evicted if you don't regularly log into the game.
And yeah, one thing I do like is that Guild Wars 2's home instance system has been massively underdeveloped. Basically got very minimal customization there. You just get a few little NPCs in there depending on what routes you've taken in the story. You get your home instance nodes in there. And of course, after this has been released, after this trailer has been released, the cost for all the home instance nodes has skyrocketed in price as well. But seeing them actually get the love and attention they deserve, getting that customization brought in, getting just this very nice sort of aesthetic area that's a bit more uniform, because each of the cultural home instances, they're very sort of disparate in terms of where everything's located. So it's very jarring to go from one to the other.
Instead, you just get access to your homestead naturally during the campaign. ArenaNet didn't go into too much detail about the story of the new expansion, but your new home is related to its new faction, the Lowland Kodan. So obviously the main draw with a player housing system is decoration, the ability to customize your space. But there are a couple of neat features built into the homestead. First off, they act as a sort of showroom for your in-game collection of skins and cosmetics.
That fact I really enjoyed. The fact you can go and showcase all your fashion accomplishments, all your legendary weapons, and you can truly show off all the hideous amounts of time and progress you put into a Guild Wars 2 account. One thing I would like to see, because obviously at the moment everyone's home instance, it basically looks the same, and it's going to look even more uniform, I guess, aside from the customization, but the actual location. When we get what I presume this will be probably the only player housing instance that you have access to as part of Janthir Wild. So I'd be very keen to see if we get more of them. Similar to how we have guild halls, I would love to see one for each expansion. Like, I would love the Gilded Hollow, the Auric Basin guild hall, something like that. That is my favorite guild hall. And even just ones for Path of Fire, End of Dragons as well. I love if you could go through and sort of pick one of these and then customize it from there. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I said they'll backput all this to guild halls according to what they said. Like all the, yeah, I did see they went and said they would go through and add the like customization options to guild halls, which I am very excited for. Is there a skeleton-like character? Not really, no. Not in this game. Aside from Halloween, but not a playable one.
This playtest, ArenaNet provided me with a preview account full of characters, all of them named after members of the PC Gamer team. Here they are now, just hanging out. In fact, any alts that you leave in the homestead will appear when you visit with another character. Up to 30.
That fact I really enjoyed, because we have, I think it's 19 characters on our EU account now and 24 on our NA account. So being able to actually see them in the world, just pottering about in our home instance, I am very excited for. This will probably, I wonder how this interacts with alt parking, because at the moment I've got so many characters parked in, well, particular one location in the world I can just go through and farm it daily. So having them parked here, I assume we won't be able to benefit from that. So you're making the decision of, will a character stay in its park location to get the profit, or will it stay here for the vibes? But yeah, if you want a character like Soul Reaper, I definitely recommend checking out Necromancer, because then you can roll into Reaper, which is probably very similar to what you're looking for. And you'll be able to customize your character as well to give you the look that you want, like Exodum has mentioned.
30 can sit around at a time. There's even a little cave over here.
30 is a pretty good number. We are very soon going to get past that, and I know for a fact there are people with around 70 characters, so it's sad that there is a limit, but honestly, for the vast majority of people, 30 is a totally reasonable limit.
A bunch more of them. Your mounts are here too. You can find them resting over by the stables, meaning you at last have a way to enjoy the fancy jackal skin that you got. Because, let's be honest, how often are you actually using it in the game? And
this fact alone I do very much enjoy. The fact we can just see our mount skins in the open world is going to be very nice. We can go admire those expensive skins we have purchased or rolled for on the gem store. That's going to be nice. I do take personal offense to when he says you do not use the jackal skin. The jackal is one of my most used mounts, so I take personal offense at that.
You can pet the mounts. It's pretty cute. If you hop on a mount, it leaves you stable. even if an alt was sitting on it. And if we head over here, there's your skiff. It's a small touch, but having a home for your mounts and vehicles is a nice shorthand for cementing this as your own personal space. Okay.
This I also very much enjoy because I almost never use my skiff, because why would I use my skiff if I can simply use my skimmer? So having it here, having these different fishing nodes as well is going to be nice. Having some fishing nodes in your home instance is great. It's another source of gold, another activity you can do in there. And even you can RP a bit. You've got a jetty here. You can fish off that. That sounds fantastic. And yet you can pet the dog. Being able to pet the jackal is going to be fantastic.
The fun little aesthetic touches are all well and good. But one of my first questions when ArenaNet was explaining the homestead system was about resource nodes. You see, Guild Wars 2 characters already have a little personal space for themselves. It's based in...
Sidebar, the Grove is one of the worst home instances to go through and actually gather stuff. It is so convoluted to navigate. There's a reason everyone goes to Radissoum. It is the easiest to go through and navigate. The Grove is on a completely different end of that spectrum. And yeah, the best part is the auto harvesting. Yeah, the auto harvesting is going to be absolutely insane. The gold per hour you get from your home instance then is just going to skyrocket, because yeah, it takes not quite a while. It takes a few minutes to go through and gather every node in the home instance. So just being able to auto harvest them, which we will get to in the video shortly, that is going to be absolutely game changing.
And their starter city is called a home instance. There's probably a bunch of players that have totally forgotten these even exist. But for some of us, it's a daily ritual to visit and gather materials from any resource nodes we've unlocked or purchased. All of those resources are now also available in your homestead, as are any of the cats you've discovered around.
Also, I do like that they have lined these harvesting nodes up logically, because in so many other home instances, they're just sort of strewn all over the place in areas that don't necessarily make sense. So having them all just lined up, here's your plot of dirt, here's where your like cooking materials, your plant-based crafting, that's where it is. You've got a mine area somewhere else. That makes sense lore-wise.
And the world are persuaded to move in with you. All of it just carries over. There's also a neat little new option that should make the gathering ritual a little less onerous. If we head over to this box, there's just
this is hype
button, and it instantly,
and you can add a glyph to it as well. Wonderful. Yeah, adding the glyphs of volatility to this, that is going to be insane value. So you can get the volatile magic from those as well. That's going to be great.
Function won't be available when Janthir Wilds launches. ArenaNet plans to add it during one of the quarterly updates following the expansion.
So we're going to have to wait a little bit for the auto harvest, but that's okay.
Much more.
That's going to be exciting when it lands.
Home instances, by which I mean the Grove. Over in this building, you will find the crafting bench.
I do respect them shit-talking the Grove a bit. I do enjoy that.
That lets you create new decorations to customize your homestead. It's a completely separate system from the scribing profession used to decorate guild halls, but the benefit of that is it's going to be a lot cheaper to craft.
And yeah, having this completely separate from the scribing system is great, because the scribing system, I haven't looked at how expensive it is to max out scribing, but from memory, it was obscenely expensive. I have not gone through and really leveled up any scribing in all the years I played Guild Wars 2 because of just how expensive it is. So having this be completely separate to that is fantastic. Another materials sink as well. And just looking at this, we've obviously got some new materials in here, your refined homestead metal and handfuls of material for here, whatever that is. But the fact we're using existing materials is a great option for them to go through and add in a sink for lesser used materials as well. You need a guild to help level scribing. Yeah, if you're not a part of a decently large guild or a max level guild, then yeah, scribing is much lower value for you. Whereas here, this is just in your own personal home instance. I very much like this. Guild Wars 2 is very much, compared to many other MMOs, it is much more a solo focus game. So having this just be focused on your own personal home instance, I think is a good touch. They're targeting the audience that they have, which I think is a good choice.
Items. You will need to convert some of your materials into a new homestead crafting resource and then combine it with some other resources.
Just watch blueberries go up in price.
To your library. I should say here, this is an early development build I'm playing, so there are a bunch of placeholder icons.
I do respect the placeholder icons as well. Just the standard like under construction symbols. They're great.
There should be around 800 decorations that will be craftable by the end of the expansion's update cycle. The majority of these will be earned in-game, although yes, some will be exclusive to the Black Lion Gem Store. ArenaNet stressed to me any decorations bought either with real money or by converting your in-game gold into gems will give you multiple copies of that item.
I do like as well that they have highlighted the fact that you can convert your in-game gold to gems, because even though Guild Wars 2 does have its premium currency that you can buy with real world money, you don't necessarily have to. It has been years years since I have done that. So being able to do that with your in-game gold is one of the best things about Guild Wars 2, and I do like that in this reveal video they have highlighted that.
Place automatically, and also a recipe, so you can craft as many of that item as you want in the future.
Oh, now the best part, the amount of manipulation of decorations. I've never seen anything did better. No, this looks exceptional compared to so many other decoration systems. Even compared to the current decoration system, this is giving you a level of granularity that is absolutely amazing.
Sure. If you've tried decorating a guild hall in the game, you'll know it's currently pretty basic.
It is indeed very basic.
Place it on the map, maybe spin it around a bit.
Yeah, and the fact that it's going to be ported to guild halls, that's amazing.
The entire decoration system has had a pretty major overhaul. For the playtest, ArenaNet dropped me into a homestead that one of the developers had already started to decorate. Rather than
the developer that put this area together has done a fantastic job.
Built from various floor tiles that have been repurposed as walls and roofing. The same with this lighthouse, which has been created from lots of individual pieces all fitted together. Now,
the fact that that lighthouse has been put together from individual pieces is absolutely bonkers. I'm curious to see if there's actually like a staircase going up in the middle, because that is insane.
You go to place a piece and realize, oh god, that's way too big. You've got some options to turn it into what you want. Even once they're placed, you can switch over to the modification menu and adjust.
So even then, once it's in place, you can go through and just rescale it as you want. Fantastic.
Just any existing item, giving you some power to fine-tune things after the fact. There's even a new X-ray vision mode, so that you don't lose items into the floor.
That's just a really nice feature.
You can see a glowing item.
I can imagine so many people would lose their decorations if they're going through and placing them underground there. So at least just being able to have that, that's just a nice touch. I'm surprised you don't see that in more places. That's a very considerate option they've got there.
Even if it's through something else, and it lets you remove it more easily. I really like these armor stands, which let you
love.
Statue of your character. You just place it down, interact with it, and it will copy what you're currently wearing. And then you can set it to one of a number of fun poses. It feels like a fitting way to honor.
That is really good. That's just such a good idea. Fashion Wars is going to be taken to a whole new level, and you could just, I imagine you could probably do this on all of your alts as well. Potentially you could have statues for each of your alt characters. That would be really, really cool. I assume it's not just tied to whatever character you're currently on. I think you have to swap character, put statues of another. I figured that would be the case. Yeah, you could like log in on one character, place a statue, log out, come in another character, different statue, and then just in different areas you could have victorious statues of each of your characters. That's going to be really cool.
The true end game of Guild Wars 2. Fashion. There's a matching weapon stand too, so if you want to fill your home with reminders of the many, many hours you spent.
I love that. Just being able to go and showcase your favorite weapons as well. Brilliant.
Crafting legendaries, you're good. Naturally, if you're going to show off your collection, you'll need to invite your friends along. And while they're there, if you trust them, you can let them decorate your homestead too. There's a special permission in the menu that turns on group decorating, but it does mean that they'll have access to your library and can just...
And Corey, that's a great idea. Just wish there was a place to jewel the homies. I would also very much enjoy that. I could definitely see them adding that in, because we already have that system in guild halls where you can jewel each other in PvE armor. I think you can even set it to world versus world balance as well. So I could definitely see them adding this in a future update. And a great thing about this is the fact that this is a system they can very easily build upon for future expansions and future patches. And Guild Wars 2 is pushing towards a much more frequent content update schedule rather than waiting a few years between each expansion. It's now every year new expansion, so we're getting much smaller content, but this is something that they could very easily just add like little bits and pieces to over time. I very much like the sound of that, because then, yeah, a couple patches down the road, if it's like, oh, it's just a balance patch, or if it's just a bug fix patch, but oh wait, hang on, there's jeweling in your homesteads. That's an interesting prospect.
Just place and modify things around the map. Overall, I'm impressed with what I've seen. Player housing is one of the bigger features on the community's wish list, and the toolset here should let more artistic players create some really cool, surprising builds. It's certainly a huge improvement over what's currently in the game.
And personally, I was not hugely interested in player housing when I first heard it. I thought it would just be a little bit of a tack on to the existing home instance system, but seeing the level of depth and customization that we get out of this, and what appears to be an incredible amount of quality of life, I am very interested in it now. It looks like they're setting up systems that they can expand on in the future. That is fantastic. Expanding on these systems that they've already built, I think, is a great play for them, because it's, I imagine, far less intensive in terms of developer resources, so they can go through and just add in these things much more regularly. Yeah, being able to fully make it yours is just great. Yeah, I think my vision was limited from Guild Wars 2's current home instance system, because yeah, it's not just it's not fully yours. And housing is great because they can use environment assets that they have built over the last 12 years. I totally agree. They've got so many existing assets that they could just port into this system. I think it's very interesting.
Although, if you are a guild decorator looking on in Envy, ArenaNet did say that the new decoration skills and placement options are going to be ported over to guild halls too. Really, for me, it's the smaller touches that I'm most excited about. A hangout for my alts, a stable for my mounts, and the ability to show off the weapons and items that I've spent time creating. I'm probably not going to spend hours painstakingly creating an entire village from the ground up, but I love the idea of having a space that celebrates my in-game achievements, whether that's through decorations that recognise some big end-game accomplishment, or just a massive statue that shows off some cool armor. Guild Wars 2 players will be able to get their own homestead on.
I'm going to absolutely love that for all my sets of legendary armor. It'll be a great way as well to immortalize the looks that you create as well.
August 20, when Janthir Wilds releases.
But yes, I am very excited about that. Looking forward to August 20 when this finally comes out. That is going to be incredibly exciting.